Hey guys, here we are with the little angle relationship SOL review. The first picture you see is showing you what vertical angles look like. They form an X and they touch only right here at their vertex is all. And you know that A and B are exactly the same size. Now let's talk about adjacent angle. That means you share a side. So for example, if someone said, what angle is adjacent to A? The answer would be B, because A and B share a side. Now if somebody said, what angles are adjacent to B? It would be both angle A and angle C, because they both share a side with angle B. So whenever an angle literally shares a side right here, that means they're adjacent. And these two angles also share a side right here. Okay, let's see what we've got next. The two other super important things are the word supplementary, which means a straight line. It means two angles together form a straight line, and they equal 180 degrees. Those angles could also be separate, but any two angles that equal 180 are supplementary. Complementary angles starts with a C, just like the corner that it forms. Complementary angles work together to form 90 degrees. So remember, supplementary is 180, complementary is 90. Okay, so just try to remember that. All right, here we go. Let me go to the next one. This says, two lines and a ray intersect at a single point as shown below. So look at the picture. In the drawing above, what is the measure of angle X if the measure of angle 2, which is right here, marked 70, is 70? Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. If you look at this line here, and you know this angle is 90, then you know this angle is 90. But you could also look and say all three of these angles form a straight line. So you know that straight line is 180. So I'm going to subtract the 90 that square represents on the right, and I'm going to subtract the 70. So that means angle X has got to be 20 degrees. Okay? Now, the other way you can do that, and let me go ahead and erase some of what I did there. That way, maybe you can see it a little bit more clearly if I can get my eraser. I'm going to erase this stuff that I put here. Okay, and go back to my pen. If you look at that picture and you recognize again this is a straight line, so that's 180, then these two angles together have got to be 90. So the other way you could do this is you could say 90 minus that 70 means that again X is 20 degrees. So there's always a couple of ways to look at these. If you go to the next one, it says, what is the measure of X? Again, you just have to notice this makes a straight line, which is supplementary. So again, with supplementary angles, you just ask yourself, they're 180 together, and if one of them is 95 and I take that away, that means X must be 85 degrees. And if you want to check yourself, you go to the next line on your calculator and you say, all right, 95 plus 85 is 180. So then you know that you are correct. Let's try the next one. All right, it says name a pair of vertical angles. As you know, vertical angles are directly across from one another. So let's look at this carefully and see, because there are actually three sets of vertical angles here. The first angle set that I see, just because it's right there in front of me, is angle 1 and angle 4. If you notice, they make an X and they only touch at the point there. They are exactly the same. So angle 1 and angle 4 are definitely a pair of vertical angles. But if I wanted to name another pair, I think the next pair I would name would be angle 6 and angle 3. they are also right across from one another, and they are a pair of vertical angles. And then lastly, I'm going to mark them way out here. Angle 2 is across from angle 5. So that is a third set of vertical angles. All right. Oops, I skipped one. This one says, what is the measure of angle 3? Well, if I look, I see that they are vertical, and vertical angles are always congruent. So that means angle 3 has to equal 30 degrees. But what if they wanted to know what angle 1 is? Well, then I have to look here and see that those two form a straight line. So I would take 180 and I would subtract 30 degrees, and then I would know that angle 1 is 150 degrees. And if you look closely, angle 1 and angle 2 are also vertical, so they are the same. Okay? Excellent. And let's look at this. It says, which pair of angles are not adjacent? Okay, so that means they are not sharing a side. Well, angle 1 and angle 2 definitely share a side right there. Angle 3 and angle 4 definitely share a side there. 5 and 6 share a side here. But if you look at angle 7 and 8, they may share a vertex, but they do not share a side. They are vertical. Vertical angles are never adjacent. Okay? All right, in this figure, if angle YXZ has a measure of 37, so if you notice, YXZ has an angle 37, what is the measure of angle WXY? So the first thing we have to do is find WXY. Start at WXY. So we are looking for that angle right there. And by looking at the picture, you can tell they make 90 degrees together. So I'd come to my calculator and I would say 90 subtract 37 degrees leaves me with 53 degrees. And if you're like me, I always like to make sure I didn't make a mistake. So I'll say 53 plus 37. Yep, that is 90. So we know we are correct. Alrighty, let's go to this problem. It says lines S and T intersect so that the measure of angle 1 is 85. If angle 2 is a supplement, what does supplement mean? Supplement, like supplementary, means 180 degrees. So if angle 2 is a supplement to angle 1, what's the measure of angle 2? Well, if it says supplement, you put 180 in your calculator and subtract whatever that other angle is. And that means that the one that is a supplement is 95. You can check that again. 85 plus 95. Okay, oops, I didn't put an 8 here. That was the problem. 85 plus 95 is 180. Okay, so you know that that's how you get it. Another way you could get this if you didn't know is you would say, okay, I know that one of the angles is 85. What if I add 5? Well, that gives me 90. Then 85 plus 90, get another number. Then I have 85 plus 95. I'm just going down my choices. Whoops, I need to put that on the next line, I'm sorry. 85 plus 95, well, that gives me 180. And then I'm going to do 85 plus 100, which gives me 185. So the two that look like something that we would be looking for are 90 and 180. That's when you have to know that supplementary with an S is 180 and complementary with a C, complementary for a corner, means 90. Okay, so I'll just got to remember that. All right, let's look here. It says in the diagram, the measure of angle 1 is 6x plus 12. All right, so I'm going to do that, 6x plus 12. And the measure of angle 2 is 9x minus 6. Well, when you look at that and you realize that they are vertical angles, you know they have to be equal. So the way I'm going to solve that in these review videos is I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator to my advantage. I know that each angle has to be exactly the same. So I'm going to start with x equals 1. Well, that didn't work. How about 2? How about 3? How about 4? How about 5? Let's just keep, there you go. X equals 6. Now that is the x value, but it wants to know the measure of angle 1. So the measure of angle 1 is 48 degrees. And the measure of angle 2 is also 48 degrees. But when you're looking for vertical angles, you have to use 3 lines on your calculator. Okay, if you wanted to solve it, you would say 6x plus 12 equals 9x minus 6, and you could solve for x, and then you would check it this way. Okay, so that's how you do that. Let's go on to our next one. All right, right away I can see these guys form a straight line, which means together they must equal 180. So when I know that together they have to equal 180, again, I'm going to use my calculator to my advantage. 2x plus 3, and I'm going to add x minus 6 because I know together they have to be 180. So I'm going to plug in some numbers here. I'm going to go up pretty quickly because I need to make sure that I'm getting close to my number. You have to go in systematic order though. So I'm going to go up. You know I'm getting closer. I'm at 55. I'm going to try 65. Oh, that was too much. So now I know I have to back down. How about 60? Oh, not enough. Go back up. There you go. X is 61. So X equals 61. If you were going to solve that, again, you would set it up. 2x plus 3 plus x minus 6 equals 180. Combine like terms and solve for x. Then you would check it just like I just did on my calculator to make sure it works. All right, our next one. That is a complementary angle. That means it equals 90. The measure of angle 1 is 2x, and the measure of angle 2 is 6x minus 6. Again, I know that together they are 90. So I'm going to put my 2x together with my 6x minus 6. Then I'm going to go to my next line. They want the measure of angle 1, but to find that, I have to find my x value first. So I know I've got to get to 90, so I'm going to go ahead and try 20. And I'm just moving up quickly. That was way too far. So let me try 10. Okay, I can go up from there. There you go. X equals 12, but that did not give me the value of angle 1. So if I look here, the measure of angle 1 is 2x. So I'm going to come right over here to my calculator on the next line and type 2x. Lo and behold, 2x equals 24 degrees. And because I like to be really careful, I'm going to go to my next line and I'm going to put in the 6x minus 6 just to make sure. That's 66 degrees. Then if you want to triple check, that you're right, then you add 24 plus 66 and it equals 90. So you know that you are correct. All right, we'll be back later with more videos.